Well, good morning. Uh, we're going to continue looking at some Star Wars Empire Strikes Back stuff. Uh, and we're still in advanced custom fields and we're still in generate blocks. Again, more with dynamic tags, but now I wanted to see, and this is just kind of an ongoing theme. I keep wanting to see what's possible with the dynamic tags and how can I do this with it? Can I, um, we did the social media links. I wanted to know how the repeater field worked with it, um, how we can do relationships. And now I wanted to see if I could do an image gallery because Advanced Custom Fields has you might see it, my tab over here. It has a gallery custom field that is pretty neat. And yeah, so it turns out, yes, we can absolutely do this. Excuse me while I get some coffee. Uh, so yeah, let's just get right into it. Um, I have some various tabs pulled up because we're going to do a gallery of thumbnails that have a lightbox effect, and I picked out some kind of easy to use things that I've used before for different project sites, and so let's just take a look. We're going to add just below his profile just a gallery of images of various scenes from the movie, and we're going to just start right here. Let's jump into the team member fields that control the content for each of our team members. Now, if you remember from previous videos, and sorry about the pastel colors, this was looking at how to add a featured style slash class to any of the members of our team here. And these are the very poor color choices I made. But again, we're going to look at good old Luke here. We have his weapon proficiencies, which are from the relationships that we created to the weapons post type, his weapons proficiencies. Here's the fields. But let's look at the team member fields because this gallery is going to be associated with his team profile. So we're going to create a gallery. I'm just going to call it gallery. But for the field name, I'm going to call it team because I like to prefix it. Underscore. I want it to return an array because it's going to return lots of good information, of which we won't need all that much. But as you can see here, this is an example that they give on the Advanced Custom Fields site, displaying a list of images of custom HTML, which you can go this route too. Absolutely. And GenerateBlocks / GeneratePress give you the hooks and things to do that. But anyway, we're going to do it with the dynamic tags and GenerateBlocks. So an array. So this is a little bit of code that snags the custom field that has all of the gallery information in it. So it's storing it in a variable called images, and it's first saying if this is not null, it has a value, it has stuff in it. We're going to start outputting a list, and we're going to loop through all this stuff. And here's the bit that we're going to really be looking at. So it's going to return an array that has bits of information about each one of the images that we've included in our gallery. And I'll come back to that in just a minute, but that's the magic stuff. This URL, sizes, thumbnail, caption, that kind of thing. We're really just going to be using the URL, maybe the sizes. But anyway, let's, do I need to do anything else? Let me check here. Look at my cheat stuff. No, that's good. We'll just leave it as it is. So I'm going to save that. And now we jump over to good old buddy Luke. And now we scroll down. And now we have this nice gallery. So I'm going to add to the gallery. And I've added several images here. Let's just click. I think I want all of them. What is that? How many that is? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. Okay, well, that's okay. And I'm going to rearrange them. Let's see. So we have, so they're kind of in order, kind of, sort of. Yeah, that looks good. And I know it's 7, but whatever. I didn't count. Um, and we can come over here and add alt text. We really should. I'm not going to do that right now, just to get on with things. Although, little sidebar, I think I want to do some more videos on accessibility. It's something I've really been getting into. I was into it a long time ago when I was really getting into hand coding stuff. And it's kind of, well, I've always been into it, but just more so lately. Anyway, back to the gallery, and I just spilled coffee on my mouse. Okay, that's good. It'll be okay. Yeah, let's get on with this. Okay, I'm going to update, and then we're going to jump over to elements. So elements is where the layout is. Team member single template. That's what we want to look at. Alrighty. Did I click on it? I clicked on it. Okay. Oh, um, maybe. Well, let's do this for. No, let's. Okay. So to handle the Lightbox effect, sorry, let's go back one step. I need to install a plugin, and we're going to use this. Okay, this is a really simple, bare bones Lightbox plugin for WordPress, and it happens to work, or at least in my test this week, used to work with GenerateBlocks. I think since GenerateBlocks updated, this has not been updated to handle GenerateBlocks 2, but it's still easy to adapt. We're gonna have to do one thing essentially. So yeah, I'm gonna install this plugin real quick. I don't think I have it installed. Yeah, so let's do that. We're going to, what is this? Lightbox for gallery. I think that may get it. There it is. So let's install that. So essentially it runs off baguette baguettebox.js. This is what it's using. And I pulled up the GitHub thing, and I guess I need to include this in the links in the description. So this is what it runs on. So you can essentially modify it, if you want to dig into it with what they provide you here. And again, it's really simple. It doesn't have a lot of customization options, but it's really, really tiny and doesn't require a lot of overhead. It does not require jQuery. But we're going to, once it's installed, we're going to do one small thing. That's, see, they have here GenerateBlocks. Yeah, I don't think it's been updated because it works by detecting the block type that's present in the page. It'll on-queue the assets and load them, the JavaScript and the CSS for the plugin, only when it detects those blocks. But we want it to be present at all times. So we're going to go down here to this Q&A, or FAQ, whatever. How to on-queue the necessary assets, script, and style for blocks outside of post for block types that are not supported by default. So this is a little bit right here. Widget on every page. We're just going to on-queue it everywhere. So we want to snag this little filter. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to jump over to my functions.php, round about the place that I start on-queuing scripts. And I'm just going to paste it in here. You can do this with, a code snippet plugin, whatever you want. I'm using a child theme. I never can spell on cue. It's like UE. I'm just going to say Lightbox assets globally, everywhere, please. So I'm going to save that. That should take care of that bit so that those assets are present. Yep. And now let's go back to the plugin. Ooh, I've got an update for GP Premium. Okay, I'll do that later. Now let's go to elements. Now let's go back to this team member single template. Let me pull up my cheat site over here too. Okay, let's look at I always like looking at the outline because it just helps me better. I really need to learn the short codes better. So what's Control Alt Y? Control Alt Y. Yeah. I'm gonna include. Whoop! It didn't. Okay. Let's put in a little space. Too large. I'm still gonna do the add after. Okay. Query. Okay. We're gonna do a query. We're gonna start blank. And we want it to be a post meta query. And let me take another drink of coffee and wait for my cheat site to pull up. I've already built this once, and I want to make sure that I'm following the directions to do it right again. So I'm going to also, I've been doing this a lot lately, renaming the blocks. Man, it makes it so much easier as I'm scanning through that tree. Query. Okay. So the gallery query is post meta, and because we're looking, it's not going to pick this up because it's not aware of the post. I have to, it is the current post. Well, it doesn't really know what the current post is other than the display rules, which are down here, team members, which maybe that's something they're working on, but I get it. So team, this is the name of our custom field. Our gallery custom field that we created. So the pagination type, I don't want any pagination. I'm going to set it to 99. I don't think that hurts anything. Yeah, see here you can pull up specific posts. So I guess you could do that while previewing and then just switch it back to current post. Okay, so we're going to leave this as a div element. Maybe it should be a section. Maybe, I'm not sure. And that comes more into play when we want to go down the route of how to make this more accessible. I'm going to do it to fit this baguette box JS right now, as far as the tag names, the element names, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so the looper can be a div as well. We're going to make it 4 columns. Yeah, we'll do 4 columns. And then the loop item, we're going to change it up a little bit here. We want it to be a link. We want it to be an anchor tag. There's no link element. Be sure not to add any. Yeah. We got that. Okay, so the way the markup for this works is, where's my markup example? Yeah, so we're going to give it a class of gallery because that is the class name that at least the plugin uses by default. There are several others that it tries to match based on whatever you might be using. Now I'm speaking of this plugin. So they built this WordPress plugin using this particular JavaScript Lightbox. But it has to be a div with anchor elements. I think you call those anchor elements. The href. So it can't be a list or nested divs or anything like that without doing some modification to how it runs. It may not even do it at all. It may not even give you those customization options. Like I said, it's really simple. It does what it does. So this is the structure we need to imitate. So we have our looper, which is a div, and I'm going to give it another class, gallery. And our loop item is going to be this anchor element. It does not need a class, but it does need a link. Okay, so here's where things start to get interesting. So let's open this up, and we're going to select a loop item dynamic tag. Okay. And now it got kind of tricky. I had to do some trial and error with this. So because the PHP example shows it gets the field array and it assigns it to a variable, we don't get to do that. So essentially we're using this, except ours would say team underscore gallery. So what I have to do is type in the custom field name, the meta key, so to speak, and we're going to add it, but that's not all we're doing. So the GenerateBlocks dynamic tags use dot notation to get values of array items, I guess. And we kind of figured this out in some previous videos. But again, if we look at like here, so this is the variable name. And remember, it holds the value of this, and then we're in a loop. And we're also in a loop over here. We're in a meta query loop, our post meta query loop. And then we have our loop item that we're currently in. So we are currently in the first item or an item of this loop. We're looking at the team gallery custom field, but we want to get the URL of that array, of that current array item. So it's looping through that array. We're on one particular item within that array, but that item has multiple values. It has the URL, it has sizes, it has thumbnail, it has caption, so on and so forth. So this is it. We want the URL. Now we could put an image size, but since by default it will be the full size image, we don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to insert that. Okay. Now we need an image to show. So let's do the GenerateBlocks image. And let me get caught up over here on the other side. Okay. So now we need another dynamic tag. So again, we're going to go to the loop item. We're going to put in the same meta key. Now it gets a little more complicated. A little bit, not much. So we still want that URL, okay? Because we want that image to show. So we're populating, or you'll see that in a minute. So I'm pointing to it with my fingers if you can see it. Over here, this image field is what we're populating. So let's also include another parameter. So I put in a pipe character, and I'm going to type size and medium. Okay, just a second. Sorry. When your wife calls, you answer. So anyway, where were we? Okay. Team gallery. Yeah, URL. Team gallery dot. You can't really see this that well. Let's break this down. Let me jump over here. Open a new tab and make that a little bigger. Woo! Made the whole thing bigger. Okay, so what are we looking at? So we're in a loop item. That's the first thing. And we are in a custom field. So we need to define the key of team gallery. That is the name of our custom field. We want to get it. Team gallery is an array of multiple values. So we use the dot notation because we want the URL from team gallery. And we're going to add a parameter, which is, we use this pipe, which technically this is a parameter too. It's a key parameter. And so it's a parameter name and a value. So now we add a pipe, because we want to add another parameter. Multiple parameters are separated by pipes, this pipe character. And now we want to define a size of medium because we're posting thumbnails of this gallery. We want it to load quickly. And I don't know if I can get this back to what the regular size is. Maybe that's right. So anyway, let's jump back over here, and I think we have everything we need. And now we need some styling. I think we need a little bit of styling. So let's go over to our styles. Yeah, sorry, styles. And I think all we have to do, technically, and if best practices, I would be defining a global style so I could reuse this in other places. I just want to give it an aspect ratio of a square. Okay. Oh, and I also want, is the looper our grid? Yeah, let's give it a column gap of 10 pixels and a row gap of 10 pixels. Okay, let's save it. And let's see what happened. Whoa, cool. Okay. Okay, one little thing here in our Lightbox. It works. Ho, 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 ho. That's pretty cool. Okay, and this little gap that appears, so if I go to the inspector, see how there's more space. There should be equal space between the rows and, I'm sorry, between each image and between the rows of images. So for some reason, when an anchor element is in line, let's say this block, oh, excuse me, the image, I think as soon as, yeah, you give an image display block, and not inline block, it removes that space, and I can't remember why, but it does. So let's go to our image and let's give it a display property of block and resave. And there you go. Now we have this cute little gallery down here, and it's all using, okay, put the pieces together again. Sorry, it's all using a few different things. We have built a gallery custom field for our team members. Let's see if, I know it's not going to load very quickly, and I hate that. So go back to team members, and I go back to Luke. And we have all these custom fields. We have a title for him, a brief bio. We did his social media, his weapon proficiencies, featured styles, and now we have a gallery. All of this courtesy of Advanced Custom Fields. We went through the Advanced Custom Fields documentations, and we see that we wanted to return the gallery as an array, as this describes here. So we know that when it loops through each image in our gallery, that image is an array itself that has different values. So an image also has a value, or I guess you, like, if it were an object, it would be called properties. It would have a URL property, a size property, and each size would have a different property itself. Technically, I don't, that's just, in an array, it would be, would that be multidimensional? Maybe. It could have a caption. It could have an alt attribute. Look at there. Look, 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 look. So we can output the alt attribute if we wanted to. And let's jump back over to the layout, because I forgot about that. I don't think it's outputting. Of course, we didn't add an alt attribute to anything. Yep, it just has a blank. Blank. Whoop, 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 whoop. The settings. Yeah, alt text. So we could do just like we did this. We don't need the size, but we need alt instead of URL. And let's save that. Now they're still going to be empty because I don't think we've added anything. So here's a little bonus. Oh, Oh. Okay. And I can't. I think you do pipe required false, because what it's doing is it's forbidding that that image to show, because if it's by default, it's going to require a value. But we want to tell it, no, it's cool. If it's not there, it's okay. But I can't remember if that's the right parameter for it. Thank goodness it is. Okay. So it's still blank, but let's go back now real quick. So let's go to our media elements, and where's Luke? I don't remember how you spell Tauntaun. How do you spell Tauntaun? I don't remember, but that's as close as we're going to get. So that should have saved automatically. And there we go. Look at there. Pretty cool, right? So GenerateBlocks again gives us all these great tools, and I know it's more complicated, but this is still a bit easier than having to go through and code your own PHP template, right? Right? I think so. But it's still giving. I say he, Tom at GenerateBlocks, the whole team has done a great job of giving us all these tools. And real quick again, we included this plugin to handle our Lightbox stuff, and all we had to do was a little bit of PHP to add this filter. I added it to my functions.php file in my child theme to make sure the assets, the JavaScript, and the where is it? There it is right there. So at least that is the CSS. The JavaScript will be down below somewhere. There it is right there. So it's making sure that is, look at that, my content security policy is working. So that is the Lightbox stuff that is included for us. And if you want to dig into any customization stuff, head over to the GitHub repo. And gosh, is that it? Is that all? So now we're able to add a gallery that works. So yeah, I guess I'll end it there. One of the cool things that I would love to do, I think we can do this with some custom hooks, is to make our own blocks with advanced custom fields, but then style it with GenerateBlocks and build it with GenerateBlocks instead of custom PHP, so that we could have our very own Gutenberg blocks or editor blocks, whatever you want to call them, for use in WordPress, whether it's on a page or a custom post type or blog post. Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't it be cool to have our very own image gallery that we built in GenerateBlocks available as a custom block? I'm working on it. And like, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. Let me know in the comments, is this helpful? Do you have any questions? Let me know, is there other stuff like this that you want to know how to potentially build? Maybe some issues you're having. I don't know, anything. I love a good problem. I'll do my best to tackle it. I love this build stuff. And again, I think I'm going to do some more on accessibility, but that's for another time. Hopefully I'll see you next Friday. Everybody have a great weekend.